This 49ers Super Bowl preview and props edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your home for the Super Bowl. Use the promo code SGP and get up to $1,000 in bonus bets. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGP to play, win, and get paid at MyBookie. We're also brought to you by DraftKings. Download the DraftKings app now and enter code SGP during signup. For a limited time, all new users will get a free shot at $1 million with your first deposit. That's code SGP and get a free shot at $1 million with your first deposit only at DraftKings. We're also brought to you by Ace Per Head. Ace is the leader in pay-per-head providers, and they make it super easy to start your own sportsbook. Plus, Ace is offering up to 6 weeks free over at aceperhead.com/SGP. That's aceperhead.com/SGP. We're also brought to you by PropSwap. PropSwap is America's marketplace to buy and sell sports bets. Go to PropSwap.com to find better odds than your local sportsbook. Plus, when you use the promo code SGP, you get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's PropSwap.com, promo code SGP. We're also brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped is #1 in men's below-the-belt grooming. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code SGP at Manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping to Manscaped.com and use code SGP. We're also brought to you by Vincero Watches. These exceptionally crafted timepieces are truly stunning. Plus, if you use the promo code SGP, you'll get 15% off the already affordable watches and free shipping. VinceroWatches.com for 15% off using the promo code SGP. Ooh, welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking that money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer dog?
I had to go way back, Sean.
Way back?
Way back to the beginning.
Yeah.
2011.
You got some old school SGP shirt. I know Pickmaster, our boy from back in the day, he has one. Poker God 420, also rocking the old school SGP swag.
It's truly a badge of honor. And Sean, the last time that I got to go hard against the San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs was in that 2012 postseason. Eli Manning.
Oh, no.
Drops back 50 times and takes a beating, but just like Rocky, he lands the final punch. Yeah, no, I'm stoked. Our first year in existence, Sean. The San Francisco 49ers versus the New York Giants in the conference finals.
It's been a long time, and last time I just
called it the conference finals. Shame on me.
It's a conference
goal units.
Conference championships, Ryan. This is the San Francisco podcast. If you're listening to this, thank you guys. Obviously, if you are listening to this, what the hell? We also have a Chiefs edition we taped the night before, and the night before that we did a DFS edition. So we're really breaking it down, getting into the nitty gritty because there's so many bets, so many angles to break down. It is Super Bowl week. We're gonna talk SF offense, SF defense. Be joined by a super fan on the line, and then, of course, give out our 5 best props, San Francisco related, 49ers related.
Yep.
Ryan, let's get pumped for the Super Bowl.
I brought my protractor.
Touchdown, Kansas City. You're listening to the Super Bowl week on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's gone. Touchdown. San Francisco. Hashtag DGens only.
Oh, man, it's going to be a high-scoring game.
We're going to have a chance of making a run at this thing.
Fired up to go to Miami.
Ready to roll.
Let it ride.
Super Bowl week.
Poor that guy.
Hashtag DGens only.
Poor that guy, a JMO.
Yeah, get a JMO going. We got some JMO flowing in the studio. Shout out to Pinballs44 again for the JMO. Ryan, it is Super Bowl week. We're down in Miami. Not actually physically down in Miami, but we're down in Miami in spirit. We're loading up on the drinks, loading up on the cocktails, and loading up on all the bets. It is a bet bonanza over at mybookie.ag. Of course, you can play, win, and get paid. Millions of difference of, just so many freaking bets. And if you see a bet for the Super Bowl that's not listed on their website that you would like to be listed, tweet them at BetMyBookie for any sort of custom prop bet you want. Throw it on there. And again, deposit with Bitcoin, withdraw with Bitcoin. Bitcoin really popping off lately. So perfect time. It's at a nice little high here. Perfect time to deposit some of that into the old mybookie.ag account. Get that sweet deposit bonus. And, of course, use that promo code SGP for up to $1,000 in bonus bets.
Could Ryan Real Money Kramer make a field goal equal to the distance of the shortest field goal in the Super Bowl?
That's interesting. What do you think? I'm sure there is.
Well, I know I can nail a 47-yarder, so I'm pretty sure, like, give me the money now.
Oh, my God, Ryan.
Why, oh, my God, Ryan?
Because there's no way you can hit a 47-yard field goal.
All right, well.
Why have you not filmed this? If you can hit a 47-yard field goal, why are you not on the XFL Wildcats right now? Why are you not trying out for at least, the XFL? Any of these playoff teams, you can hit a 47-yard field goal. You could be playing for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Why are you not in the league if you can truly hit a 47-yard field goal?
I mean, it sounds like we have to. What is the what are we putting out? What are the stakes to get me to put this in video?
What do you mean? The stakes are
if the fans get us to
the stakes are you're proven right that you can hit a 47-yard
Here's what
field
we're going
goal.
to do. We're doing the combine. We talked about it. We're going to do it. We'll go to a field. We'll watch me kick a 47-yarder. Sean, really what I wanted to talk about, because that boat music, it made me think about the fact that have you started thinking about what it's going to be like with Odell Beckham next year?
No, I have not. And why do you think that's going to happen, Ryan?
Well, I think there's a new relationship there, a little pipeline to Philly, over there in Cleveland with the new GM. Surely, wait, you didn't get the newsletter? Haven't gotten the Eagles team talking points newsletter?
I saw that Barry, this this nobody in the GM office went over. I mean, he's oh,
I'm sorry. You obviously got the talking points.
No, but the guy is not. He's not like I mean, Howie Roseman is the GM. This guy was like an extra assistant to Howie Roseman.
You're a bum, Rock.
Clearly, Cleveland isn't going to give him a lot of power. That's why they brought him in. Podesto or whoever his name is. He's the guy in charge. They fired this guy 1 year ago, and then all of a sudden decided to rehire him back. What the hell?
Yeah,
Clearly
to get
the guy
rid of Odell to Philly.
Why I would be really surprised if the Eagles traded for Odell Beckham. What about that makes you think they're going to bring in a guy that's so horrible in the locker room? We already have a speed guy in Deshaun Jackson. I just don't see.
Imagine Deshaun Jackson and Mr. Odell in the same locker room, and imagine you've tuned into this podcast thinking we'd be talking about the San Francisco 49ers.
We will be getting the San Francisco 49ers.
And we're talking about the fucking Eagles.
There's a couple of things we have to get to. Speaking of Philly sports news, this is just a great little side story.
Gritty update?
No. Hashtag free Gritty. Still going on.
Gritty Watch 2020.
Allen Iverson had his backpack of stolen with $500,000 in jewelry. Now, this man must not have realized who he stole the backpack from, because he turned himself in and returned the backpack once it was clear that it was Allen Iverson's backpack. And that's just, it kind of reminded me of that scene in Goodfellas when, aren't you worried they're going to steal our wedding envelopes? He's like, not here, not, they know who we are.
Yeah.
And I think that kid must have shit himself when he realized he stole $500,000 from Allen Iverson, who seemed like he had some money problems not that long ago. So good for AI that he has $500,000 in jewelry thrown around in a backpack.
I'm sure he was just going to play cards or something. Nothing to see here.
Well, if you have $500,000 in jewelry, you're going to wear it. You're going to rock it, Ryan. Much like...
Or you're going to keep it in a nice, envelope contained, not in a backpack. What are you doing walking around with that? Where did he get it from? That's the question.
You wear it on you, though. It makes no sense. But if you have a nice piece of jewelry, you wear it. Much like we're wearing our nice Vincero watches, Ryan.
Hey.
Vincerio watches. Got a sweet little promo code SGP. Get 15% off and free shipping. They're badass watches. Again, I was never a big watch guy until I tried on a Vincero watch. They're affordable. They're nice. A sweet-ass little... I like using the phrase timepiece. Feels real classy. And I'm a guy who a lot of times I pull my phone out to check the time.
Yep.
To see what's going on. And then I get sucked into the phone, and I realize, oh my God, I'm yelling at some guy about whether or not Carson Wentz is a franchise quarterback. When really I just wanted to look at my phone to see the time, and then I get sucked in. When you have a nice watch, you can just look at the phone, see what time it is.
The watch.
But really, Ryan,
you can look at that beautiful timepiece.
Beautiful timepiece.
Look at that.
Great, comfortable band. Really though,
tells great time.
It does. Accurate time. Really, if you want the time, they got you covered.
Wrong one there.
You got it, Ryan. It was the wrong one. Occasionally I make mistakes, like the mistake of giving away 1,000 of our own dollars to the listeners in our Super Bowl Squares promotion. All you got to do, go to iTunes, leave a 5-star review, screenshot that, send it in over to contest at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. We're opening up the contest, Ryan, to the College Experience feed and the SGP Network feed.
Oh.
So you could send in, you want to get it maybe a second square?
Oh.
Leave a second review, because this is SGPN Nation. We're putting the entire franchise on our back.
Have we talked to the lawyers? Can we do that?
It's been greenlit.
Okay.
We have the squares are filling up. So if you want to get involved, send in that 5-star review. Or if you want to print out your own square sheet, go to sgpn.io/sbsquares, sgpn.io/sbsquares. And we just put out our party prop sheet. If you're holding the Super Bowl party, got a nice little sheet you can print out, run a little fun pool with friends and fam. sgpn.io/sbparty, sgpn.io/sbparty. One last thing before we start breaking down San Francisco's offense, and that is Phillip Rivers.
San Diego Superchargers, charge!
Phillip Rivers not coming back to the Chargers. Very disappointing for Justin Decker.
He's moved to Florida, right?
He's moved to Florida. I think there's a chance.
Wait a second. Tell me what you think, but I think we're on the same page.
Oh, I think he could actually end up playing on the Colts. Indoor, reuniting with Frank Reich there at the head coach.
A lot of family values.
Wholesome Midwest.
Lots of big hometown buffets and shit to feed that family.
Yeah, a lot of easy access to a bunch of steaks that you could feed your pack of 9 kids. And really, Quentin Nelson, if you're a quarterback, an old quarterback, don't you want to go play behind Quentin Nelson? Now, Tom Brady, Indianapolis, too small of a market for big boy Tom. But I think Phillip Rivers, that could kind of be a sweet spot for him. What do you think ends up happening?
I think he ends up going to Miami.
Really?
They draft a kid. He gets to sit for a year or two behind Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, maybe they
play
draft
defense.
Well, I was.
Brian Flores. That seems like on brand for the kind of move where.
But then, wouldn't they just kind of keep Fitzmagic for one more year if they're going to do that? Is Phillip Rivers an upgrade over Ryan Fitzmagic?
Fitzmagic is great, right? Like he's the uncle that can watch the kids for a week, but that's it. Like at that point, you got to. I don't know if you want your young quarterback modeling anything after Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's running head first. He's slinging the rock like Brett Favre. God, they're not going to be able to relate to each other. He's from Harvard. Meanwhile, you got Phillip, good old country boy.
Country strong.
Golly, doesn't curse.
No, he doesn't, Ryan. Let's dive in head first to the 49ers preview. Before we do, shout out to DraftKings. Super Bowl 54. It's all on the line. You want a chance at $1 million over DraftKings?
Yes.
I know what you're saying. What? I don't even know someone who's ever won big on DraftKings. You're lying to yourself because you know I won $200,000. And we are working on booking Scott Tolzien so I can confront the man that cost me $800,000. Thankfully, Scott Tolzien not playing in the Super Bowl, so your odds of winning $1 million have just skyrocketed. All you got to do is be a new user. Use that promo code SGP. Get your shot at winning $1 million. Again, get in on the Super Bowl 54 action. Download that DraftKings app. Use that code SGP during sign-up. New users, free shot at $1 million. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Now we're going to be bringing on a super fan, Matt Haynes, later on the show here, Ryan.
Oh, okay.
Let's first dive in San Francisco's offense. There's been a lot of chirping about how Jimmy G is more than a game manager. That seems to be a storyline some people in the media are getting behind. He's got an 84.0 QBR in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
And game with one possession, best in the NFL. 115.7 passer rating.
Oh, my goodness.
With team trailing behind, best in the NFL. 60% completion percentage on throws 15 yards down the field, best in the NFL. All right. But they only let him throw the ball 8 times in the conference championship. In the biggest game of Kyle Shanahan's career as a head coach, he said, let's take the ball out of Jimmy G's hands. And maybe it speaks to...
in fairness, they didn't have to.
Right, and maybe it speaks to how good of a running team they are. But I think at some point it also... I mean, that is a guy, he literally managed that game. The same thing with that Vikings game. He literally managed that game. It's... As a team strategy, it makes sense. If you're really dominant at running the ball, which they are, they've had great times. They've ran the ball great this season.
You know what the thing about being called a game manager means? It means you're winning games because they don't call a quarterback who is running a tight offense a game manager when you're 5-11. You're called a bad quarterback.
That's true.
So
only game managers are winners.
In order to be called a game manager, it starts with your team winning more than the person who's calling you that thinks you should. So sure, do they have a coaching advantage when it comes to Kyle Shanahan? Sure, but not any more than the Chiefs do with Andy Reid. Do they have an innovative offense that has given defenses trouble all year? Yeah, absolutely. Will the Chiefs be able to stop the rushing attack? I don't think so. I think the props like 137 yards for team rushing yards. I think that's probably a fair number.
Well, but then I'm having trouble doing the math because how does Matt Breida not have a huge game if Mostert's total, last I looked over at my bookie, was like 67.5, and if they're saying the total they think is going to be 137.5.
I feel like they're good for like 20 reverse yards.
I just don't think Coleman's going to have much impact on that game. What is the latest on Coleman?
Shanahan.
Because I just feel like you can't trust a guy in the Super Bowl coming off that dislocated shoulder injury, especially when you have depth. Breida had good games early on in the season. He just kind of slowly lost favor. But really, and no, it's not an insult to Coleman or Mostert. I really think their success is more about just the scheme and how well the offensive line is doing. I think you can plug anyone in there. So wouldn't you rather put in a healthy Breida over Coleman coming off an injury? Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he comes in there and just looks awesome. But just if there's any sort of I don't know if there's any sort of hesitation on him. I don't know, man. It's kind of
Well, I certainly think this is one of those adding props where you should do the math. You should do what Sean is suggesting and saying, well, if Mostert is sitting at a total of 67.5, where's the rest coming from?
Yeah.
We know we spoke about Garoppolo indirectly through the Mahomes prop, and that was 3.5. So he's not exactly eating up yards. Coleman, 37.5. There's still a gap there. Sure. Will there be a reverse? Will there be some weirdness? Will Breida get a random 20 yards in there? Perhaps that's the angle. I know you threw him in your DFS lineup.
Yeah.
My thought is, I think one of the ways you can play the prop market here is, I like San Francisco to be put in a situation where maybe they have to abandon the run a little bit, and we discussed this in the Chiefs' defensive portion, but will Shanahan have to be put to the test of if he's going to stick to that running game? And again, I believe Andy Reid, if he's a head coach with any influence over his defense, he's going to point out, hey, we have to make them show us Jimmy G. We have to make them show what he can do, because no one's even done that yet. And maybe that speaks to how great this San Francisco team is, and we're just all sleeping on it, and we're like, yeah, the quarterback's not doing anything. But maybe they're just beating teams one-dimensionally because they're that good.
Yeah, and I that is how you win in the NFL. It's like, hey, I can do this one thing. You can't stop it. And that is in the NFL. A lot of times you kind of know what the other team's going to do. Every once in a while there's a Chip Kelly or someone that has this new scheme that takes a little bit for people to adjust. But eventually, or for the most part, the other team knows what you're going to do. You just have to be better at that to actually impose your will. Jimmy Garoppolo led the league in EPA, which
look at you, Sean.
again, I'm a big data guy.
Love the
as you know.
environment and everything.
EPA and success rate. I have to look that up again. It's like expected points added or whatever to each play. Good plays, essentially. When targeting the tight end and the slot receivers.
The slot. How's the slot?
So Bourne wasn't a guy, the slot receiver for the 49ers. He wasn't a guy I really thought about much in the DraftKings lineup or whatever until I really started focusing on the 49ers. Kittle makes sense, but that Bourne thing kind of jumped out at me. The other thing is it really seems it's weird because they're obviously going to have to throw more than they did last time or the last couple games or just in the playoffs in general, the 2 wins. But how much do they really have to pass? And the Chiefs have been on a decent streak. They've held the opponents to under 100 rushing yards 4 out of the last 6 games. It does seem like San Francisco is going to run that zone scheme, and can Kansas City slow it down? That's really what's going to come down to. Can San Francisco be put into easy third downs? That's really, I think, will be.
So if I'm the offensive assistant quality whatever who does all that film prep for the San Francisco 49ers, what I'm walking in and telling them right now is the area of the field we have to attack the slot receiver, the slot receiver position.
How's the slot?
And which could lead to a nice game for Bourne, as you point out. We also have to attack them out wide with the running backs in the passing game. Now, again, I kind of, based on how I think this game will go, if the 49ers lose, it's going to be a shootout because I think Andy Reid, again, he trusts his team in a shootout. He's going to want to make Jimmy G beat you, even if it's just like that New Orleans game. Make him repeatedly have to beat you because I argue if he has to make 7, if he has to do it 8 times, that failure. I mean, he's gonna fail 1 out of 8. He's gonna fail at least. So just keep juicing the numbers up, drive them away. This only works if you can get out ahead and you can take control of the game. So I worry if they fall behind again, the Chiefs that is, that this would lead the offense to, crushing that rushing total, maybe seeing everyone go over their total.
What's been interesting about the Chiefs is they've been tackling really well. And if Sorensen, Tyron, again, that's why we like the Sorensen over tackle prop and the Honey Badger, him getting involved. Those guys have had really sound tackling lately, and I think that'll be key. But if San Francisco breaks some tackles, gets on some runs, you last episode, Kramer, you brought up that nice prediction that Sammy Watkins will have a pass thrown in some trickeration.
Yep.
San Francisco, a couple guys you may want to look at, Dante Pettis and Emmanuel Sanders, have both attempted a pass and both completed it for a combined 51 yards this season.
Emmanuel Sanders is the guy throwing the pass in the Super
Among
Bowl.
the 2 passes, Sanders threw his for a touchdown. I think he has some quarterback background.
I believe he has thrown a pass in a Super Bowl, hasn't he?
I got to look that up, but I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like I got to look up his passing stats because he could be an interesting guy to throw a pass. And we'll get to it in the prop bet, but there's definitely some interesting ways to always look at that. The number of people to throw a pass. What is it usually set at? It's usually set at 2.5, right, Kramer? And
it is this year too.
Oh, okay. Because it does seem like, and maybe we're just overthinking it, but it does seem like there's gonna be at least one trick pass player.
Yeah, and I keep wanting to talk about props, but of course I know we're not allowed to do that yet.
We're teasing it. We're breaking down the game, laying the case, and then we'll get into the very specific props. But I think we're on the same page. For 49ers to be successful, it's use the run to set up the pass, tight end, slot receiver, and don't allow Jimmy G to get in tough spots. And I think that's how you build a case for the 49ers.
Well, there's also the case where Jimmy G is forced to pass and Jimmy G passes the test. which
I don't see it, Ryan.
No. Right?
I don't see it. He's a game manager. Again, Ryan and I, a couple degenerates. We've won some bets, but we've also lost some bets, right? Wouldn't you like to be on the other side of the counter? You probably, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably have some friends, some family members, coworkers. What better way to build your relationship with your boss than to take his sports gambling action? That's right. You can become your own sports book. All you got to do is head over to aceperhead.com/SGP. That's aceperhead.com/SGP. If you use that URL, you can get up to 6 weeks free. Ace Per Head sets you up with your own professional betting site. All the lines updated the second, wagers graded immediately. They got top-notch customer support going 24/7. Some of the sharpest lines in the industry. Plus, Ace Per Head offers live betting and an amazing mobile experience. All you got to do is head over to aceperhead.com/SGP. That's aceperhead.com/SGP.
Do you want a quick Cousin Mush update?
Sure.
So Cousin Mush was he was out west. We were talking about maybe going meeting up in San Diego, playing some golf this Friday, and I just got a text from him saying San Diego's off. Cut my vacation short after my drunk friend got himself arrested for punching someone. He's in jail.
It's a baby fucking wheel, man.
I ain't bailing him out.
Oh man, that's
so. What were they arguing about, you ask? My friend told the guy to go fuck himself because the other guy bet on the Chiefs while my friend likes San Francisco.
Why is this not? Why are they not recording this? Can we get both these guys on the podcast to call in? I mean, I'm looking forward to talking to Matt, and Danny Solomon was a great guest. But why didn't we have these two guys hang out in your garage and sort it out?
Yeah, we could live stream it.
Oh, man, that'll be awesome.
Free pay-per-view.
Kramer, what time are we going to be doing the pregame show, the video pregame show
I don't
for
know.
Super Bowl Sunday?
What's the kickoff? 3:30 for the game?
Yes.
And people are generally, going to the party? I think I said an hour before I told people to show up. So people were probably showing up at their party between like 1:30 and 2:30 Pacific.
Yeah.
So we should probably do something before that, right?
Well, yeah, I say we kick off our pregame show 1 o'clock. Maybe it stretches 1:30, 2 o'clock. We'll
no,
see
that
how
works
it's
because
going.
the taco guy I think is getting here around 2.
That is pretty exciting. Kramer, we're getting a taco guy. He does burritos as well. What, enchiladas?
Fucking versatile, you know.
Hopefully as a deep fryer, I could really use a chimichanga. That would be badass.
That's kind of American.
It's actually Tex-Mex, Ryan.
Very American. Texas isn't America.
Why don't we encourage some of the listeners to stream our pregame show at their Super Bowl party?
Oh.
They're probably the ones hosting the party. They're getting there early. They're getting tuned up.
Then should we do it closer to kickoff then?
Yeah, do we want to say 1:30? 1:30 is good.
I don't know. I don't know. Do we go even closer to kickoff to make it as
No, that's crazy. What I was
2
saying
o'clock?
Well, yeah. You want to do 2?
I don't know. Why
don't we do 2?
Workshopping it. If you want us up at the big screen in front of people, in front of these D-Gen only Super Bowl parties.
Why don't we say 2 o'clock? We'll let it go as long as it goes. But if you take a screenshot of the SGPN pregame Periscope, the Super Bowl pregame Periscope, take a screenshot, or not a screenshot, but like a photo of you streaming it at your party, send that in. We'll hook you up with some free merch.
All right. So 2 o'clock sold?
Yeah, 2 o'clock. Let's do it. Backing up the Brinks truck, right?
Half hour just on one game. Can we make it? We'll
answer all the listener questions on prop bets. I'm sure there'll be a lot of shenanigans going on.
Yeah, there'll be lots of people filing into the garage.
Yeah, they'll get to see a live SGP broadcast. It'll be a lot of fun. So, getting to the San Francisco defense, they really just have to get off the field. It's just that simple.
It is.
Really, it's going to come down to containing Mahomes.
Showtime, Mahomes.
And containing him running the ball. I think he's going to get his passing regardless. I think the KC victory comes from the scrambles because those will keep the drives alive. Those are the back-breaking plays. Like, as a guy who had Tennessee plus 7.5, when Mahomes had that scramble into the end zone late, to get that touchdown before halftime. That was the backbreaker. And QB scrambles really are. That's really just, as a gambler, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Because they were stopping him, and then like on a 3rd and 11, you run around and get the first down.
I mean, I think it's not even. Yeah, they got to get off the field, but it's really it really just comes down to they have to win up front. I don't think their defensive backs can hold up. I think this is one of those teams where the DBs are great because the pass rush are greater. And will Kansas City's offensive line hold up under this pressure? Will they hold up against this? I mean, it's a dominant pass rush. Nick Bosa is a dominant dude. I mean, God, what are they feeding those Bosa boys?
I don't know. They're injured a lot.
I'm going all in on Trump.
That's for our boy Nick Bosa.
But the problem with a speed defense like that, and I think the difference between I'm going to use the Spagnuolo reference, but I think the difference between the way the Patriots played offense and the way the Chiefs, the 49ers play offense, is that the Patriots they weren't really a quick hitting team at that time. They had Randy Moss. They had Aaron Hernandez and Gronk. Like, they were stretching the field. That pass rush got home. The Patriots weren't able to adjust. I think the difference with San Francisco against this Kansas City team is I don't see them getting home consistently against the offensive coordinator who is gonna adjust to get the ball out of his hands quickly.
Yeah, and it's weird. The San Francisco defense, what they do well or their strengths, almost it's like the opposite for Kansas City's offense, because Richard Sherman plays on the right side of the field. Like, almost 100% of the time, he's always on the right side. And you look at the advanced metrics, Kansas City and their passing game, they're like noticeably better when going to the left. So you're already playing to that strong side. You're playing to that weak second San Francisco quarterback. And I think that's kind of how they need to defend this. They need to mix up the coverage. I think if they're going to sit in cover 3, Kansas City is going to pick them apart. So I think if they're going to – and I think they will play zone, but they need to play a physical zone. They need to test the receivers early and often, bumping within that 5-yard line, hoping to really stretch it. And we'll see how this game is ref, but if they're getting called for holding or illegal contact early, I think it could be a long day for San Francisco. But if you're the San Francisco defense, get up to the line, play physical defense, and let them get some stuff underneath, tackle them. But again, that's why I like Kelsey and Damian Williams, like PPR stuff. But tackle well, be physical with the receivers, and I think that's your best chance. And again, contain Mahomes. You got to keep the pass lanes. Don't be undisciplined, because look at Tennessee. That's really what killed them.
I also think the officials will have a lot to do with how this game goes, because San Francisco will have to be physical near the line of scrimmage to slow it. They have to slow it down that half second. And if the officials aren't letting them grab, they're going to be in trouble. Now, typically, the officials they swallow the whistle come the Super Bowl. They're not looking to get involved here. But, the Chiefs are a pretty tough team to pause for that half second. So I think the test will be, can they keep it a horizontal game? Because if the Chiefs get caught in playing a very horizontal game and trying to trick them with shovel passes and reverses, I don't think that works. What they have to do is they have to use the misdirection to free up time for Mahomes to just get that extra second for Tyreek Hill to get over the top. And I believe they will. The last thing I'll say, San Francisco can play a perfect game and still give up 5 plays that turn into touchdowns. And that's the problem when you're playing Kansas City.
Yeah. And really, you saw against Houston when they struggled early, couple drop passes on 3rd downs, all of a sudden that hot rhythm offense goes cold. It's like the Golden State Warriors. If you're shooting well and you're hitting, you're on fire, you miss a couple shots early, you get out of rhythm, the muscle memory's gone, your butthole clenches up. That's what San Francisco has to force. Okay, Kramer, we'll bring on San Francisco superfan Matt here in a second, but before we do, time to talk about our pals, PropSwap.com, baby. That's right, PropSwap, America's marketplace to buy and sell sports bets. You may not even be able to bet in your state, but you can possibly buy sports betting tickets. Again, guys are looking to hedge out of their bets. Maybe they have a KC ticket. They think San Francisco is going to win. They want to hedge right now. And what does that mean for you, the buyer? It means you can get better prices. It's just how the marketplace works. This week, KC Chiefs Super Bowl ticket with a collect amount of $2,800 sold on PropSwap for $1,500. Those odds are minus 115. Better than money line odds for most sports books out there right now. And again, if you use promo code SGP, you get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. If you have $100 right now and you want a $200 bet on the Super Bowl, just go to PropSwap.com. There's no rollover bonus. You don't have to worry about that. And to make it even a little bit sweeter, send in the screenshot of you using that promo code, and you get a free Lock Dog t-shirt. Just send that in to podcast@sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Joining us on the line, San Francisco superfan Matt Haynes. You can check him out on Twitter @PennywisePicks. Matt, thanks for calling into the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Big fan. Really excited to talk some Niners football.
Yeah, going into the season, you're a 49ers fan.
Army of one.
The 49ers, they're coming off, a rough year because the pretty boy Jimmy G blew out his ACL.
Oh.
Where were you as far as level of optimism on this 49ers team coming into the season?
So I knew we had promise. I was optimistic about the Super Bowl before Jimmy G blew out his knee, coming off. I think he was undefeated, like 5-0. To close out the season. So he was off to a hot start as the Niners quarterback. And then actually, ironically, against the Chiefs, that game after he blew out his ACL, I figured once he's healthy and we got the draft pick because of that ACL injury almost kind of manifested itself into the number 2 pick. We draft Bosa, and now we're ready to play the Chiefs again. So I was always optimistic. You gotta be optimistic when you like an NFL team.
Did you have any 49ers future bets? Were you that optimistic that you had them to win the Super Bowl?
You know what? I did not have any 49ers future bets. I actually had Patriots future bets, which is a little heartbreaking. But Jimmy G, fellow Patriot, still represented.
There you go. Yeah,
I love the Jimmy G. Like he's still our guy.
It's a baby fucking wheel, man.
Patriots fans just can't deal with the fact that they're not in the Super Bowl, so they have to just assimilate someone and pretend like they're still a part of the Super Bowl. And really, we've moved on. I mean, there's still some pending investigations.
I can delete this right here for you.
So there's still some accusations out there floating around Patriot Nation. Do you have any big plans, Matt? We had our buddy Danny on last night talking about his superstitions, rituals as a fan for the big game. Anything you're doing in particular? Walk us through your plans for Sunday.
So very excited for Sunday. My ritual is living in Arizona. We have the Waste Management Open in town during Super Bowl weekend. So Sunday we'll wake up and go to the Waste Management Open, start pre-gaming, nice early on.
The Wasted Management Open. Huh?
The Wasted Management Open, absolutely. I'll be repping all my Niners gear there. And probably start, talking a little trash if I see any Chiefs fans. But after the Waste Management Open, going over to a buddies of mine, hosting a nice Super Bowl party, and making some guacamole, and then just enjoying the game. Probably pretty messed up for the whole entire day, but there's no other way to do it.
Sounds like a great plan.
Sean, I was just over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, and I was reading a great article about the Wasted Management Open by our boy Steve Shermer. So it does seem like a super fun event to go to.
Have you guys ever been?
No.
We got to come out. I got some family out in Phoenix, so yeah, I got to make the trip out there, man.
You have to. The 16th hole, there's nothing like it. It's like a Super Bowl in itself.
I love that. He's going to watch golf, getting tuned up.
Yeah.
Maybe
I would be worried I'd pass out well before the game. That would be my concern.
Well,
the over under on that is about 2.5 hours before I hit my limit. So
All right, well, let's get to it. Let's talk a little prop bets for the big game from the 49ers perspective. And I didn't mean to hold back and say Super Bowl. I love saying Super Bowl. The NFL try and stop me from saying the Super Bowl. I'm not the guy that says
Wait, hold on.
big
Did we get this cleared by the lawyers, Sean?
No, of course not.
Shit.
We're renegade group who plays by their own rules. Again, all these prop bets you can get over at mybookie.ag. Kramer, kick things off. What is your first
Oh my God, you're putting me on the spot.
49ers related prop bet?
Well, let's start strong, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna start with 2. Is that allowed? Do you want me to
Sure.
save it?
No,
'Cause
yeah,
I gotta,
save it. Save it.
I gotta. It's a bit of a okay. I'll save it. I'll do one now and one at the end, but I'm gonna start with this one because it's a stone cold lock. There is absolutely no way Emmanuel Sanders is not catching 4 balls in the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
His total's at 3.5. The juice is plus 120 on the over. I'm telling you, all week, all Super Bowl week here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, Sean, I've been telling you this is going to be a game where Andy Reid's fat ass is not losing to a running back. He's making Jimmy G throw the ball. If Jimmy G is forced to throw the ball, it's Kittle 1, and when they do everything they can to get Kittle off the game plan, it's going to be Emmanuel Sanders. He's an absolute pro. Yes. We were discussing this earlier, but if you gun to my head, I got to choose a 49er receiver to throw a pass. It's Emmanuel Sanders. But for this case, I'm taking the over 3.5 for catches because it just seems way too low. I mean, I'm going to put this in the same category as Vegas Dave. This is a whale play. This is
It's a
you're
baby
cashing this.
fucking wheel, man.
This has halftime cash potential. I love when I call out all these halftime cash potentials, and I'm just chewing on my fingernails in the fourth quarter as none of them are close. Emmanuel Sanders over 3.5 yards or
All
3.5
right.
catches.
Matt, what's your first prop bet you want to throw out?
All right, so first prop bet, we're actually going to go on special teams.
Ooh.
I think that the first gross punt distance by Dustin Colquitt, who is a Chiefs punter, is going to be under 45.5. And you can get that at minus 115. I think that with his average is only 40.8 yards per punt. So far this postseason, I know he hasn't been able to punt much. It's only been 6 punts, but I just have a feeling that either it's just not going to be a good punt. I know the Texans blocked a punt in their playoff game. So I just have a feeling the first punt, maybe a little nervousness in the Super Bowl, his biggest game. He's never played before. It'll be under 45.5, which is pretty high.
I like it.
Well,
and I think it's easy to sky a punt. Then it gets to be a touchback. Let's say the Chiefs are on their own 45. A touchback that's only 35 yards. Like it's easy to
exactly.
if it's a touchback especially, it's easy to hit this under.
It's a gross.
Oh, gross. Okay, so
Which
wait.
I believe
No, well, net would be the return.
if there's a return, but if it's a
It's
touchback,
different than
gotcha.
net.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but a touchback would still be gross. But I think it's
Correct.
valid because I think there's a chance the Chiefs drive a little bit and are punting from either they're punting or you're cashing a ticket like I threw out on the Chiefs show that they're going to convert a 4th down.
I just love this, Ryan. We have a listener
Special teams.
who's breaking down gross versus net punting yards. This is really
Hashtag Legends only.
Carry the 4.
doing all the math. I love it. And I'm just glad we're encouraging this kind of degenerate behavior. My first prop bet, and I feel really strong about this. I kind of combed through some game logs. The total number of San Francisco 49ers to have a reception, under 7. Now it's minus 145, but I just really like that. I don't think, even with them throwing the ball more. Now, granted, they won the NFC Championship with 8 passes, so 6 catches, that clearly hit under. But even in the Minnesota game, where it felt like he was throwing the ball more, that was only between 4 guys. I just don't think their diversity comes from who the receivers are. Like, yeah, you got Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Emmanuel Sanders, Raheem Mostert. That's 4. Bourne, throw him in there. 5. So, Matt Breida catches his touchdown in the end zone for me to win $1 million on DraftKings. We're only at 6. Throw in one random guy up the street. That's 7, and you're pushing.
Sean can count.
I'm doing the math right here.
I got you. I feel you.
All right, Kramer, what's your second prop bet you like?
Well, you made me save it, so I'm going to go to the second part of my double header. Emmanuel Sanders over 41.5 yards. This price is all wrong. This is priced all wrong.
Yeah, that does seem low. And
I honestly, if I'm the Chiefs, I probably let Emmanuel Sanders run around for the short stuff underneath, because that means Jimmy Garoppolo is throwing the ball into danger. So again, I like this. I like this angle. I think. Again, I'm all in on Sanders. I've already bet this. Both.
Yeah, I mean Sanders. I
like
like the veteran presence. I like the matchup. I think of those San Francisco receivers, he's jumping out to me more than Samuel, and Kittle will get his as much as I like goofing on him.
Did you know Deebo Samuel's rushing total is set to 17.5? And
Really?
when I was doing the research on it, it is, but he's gone over that in like 6 out of 9 games, surprisingly. So
That's
I was
crazy.
like, I don't know about that, because it was actually I kind of fell into a wormhole researching the total players with a rush for the 49ers. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna stick with Emmanuel Sanders for my second one, Sean.
Matt, what's your second prop?
I do like you guys' props, doubling up on Emmanuel Sanders. I feel like he is kind of the forgotten piece in our offense. I know he didn't even have a catch last week, but that veteran presence in a big game like this, I feel like, a big game is coming from Emmanuel Sanders. I do like Kittle to score a touchdown anytime at plus 135. I felt like that was going to be a little bit closer to even money. And at plus 135, he's a big red zone threat. He's probably our number one red zone threat. If we're ever going to pass the ball. And I'm one of these fans that say we, because it's shorter to say we than the 49ers each time. So I'm going to keep saying it. We're down the red zone. We look for Kittle first. And also he might get I saw there's a prop up on my bookie that he is about plus 350 for a rushing attempt. So a little curveball in there. He might get a rushing attempt in for a touchdown. So anytime touchdown in what's projected to be a high-scoring game, Kittle plus 135, lock it in.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that price.
He has 5 rushing attempts on the season.
Oh,
do you know his?
You know that's a prop.
What? How many?
Yes.
Will Kittle have a rushing attempt? It's plus 350.
Yeah, he just said that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, it's
no, he said score anytime.
No, but he threw in
okay.
that part. Did you know that George Kittle, before every game, his dad writes him a handwritten letter? Like 5 to 7 pages of just, and he reads it as part of his pregame ritual. He was on Pardon My Take, and he has a pregame ritual where he throws up, he smashes his head against the wall, and then reads this long letter from his dad. Well, it's
no
funny
CT
to me.
there.
I don't think my dad's
He's the people's tight end.
I don't think my dad's written me 7 pages combined, and I love my dad. He's a good dad. But I just can't imagine my dad being that verbose. What do you have to talk to your son about that much? It's
Does he
insane.
handwrite it or type it?
I think he handwrites it.
Jesus Christ.
The guy, it's a great father-son bond.
Talk about coddling. What a soft little bitch.
It's classic.
Oh, do you need daddy's letter before you can play in the football game?
Get hyped. I mean, just to think about Chuck Bednarik.
Does the baby need its pacifier?
Or who's the chief that was smoking a cigarette at halftime? Just imagine him reading a letter. The letters they read was, in World War II when they're killing Nazis, not before they played.
Don't come home until you win a championship,
son. No
Jesus
son,
Christ.
no son of mine's gonna lose in the NFC Championship.
Yeah, I mean Archie Manning had it slightly different.
Now, Matt, you may want to close your ears for this next prop. Jimmy Garoppolo interceptions over a half.
Oh,
I'm paying a little juice.
Minus 160,
but Jimmy G has had his moments. I think he's going to have to pass more than 8 times. You saw in that Minnesota game, he just gets a little wonky at times, and I wouldn't be surprised if I have a pretty good feeling that Jimmy G is going to throw a pick here.
There's a reason it's you're laying with that at minus 160.
Yeah, might not be the end of the world, but it might be. We'll see. But I do think Jimmy Garoppolo over a half interception. Safe bet there. Kramer, before we get to
hey Sean,
before we get to your third prop bet here, Jimmy G, noted guy, likes to go out and party. We got a pubic service announcement for Jimmy G, courtesy of Manscaped.com. If you're going out there hanging out with an adult film star, Kira or something, Kira Mira.
Oh God, she sounds hot.
She's very gigantic breasts. But if you're with a porn star, you don't want to have some old 70s bush. You want to be nice and trimmed. And you can do that by using the Lawnmower 3.0 7,000 RPM motor with that quiet stroke technology. Matt sounds like a young guy. He's probably out there in the dating field. You don't want to be coming in there with the giant hairy bush. Go to Manscaped.com. Use promo code SGP. You get 20% off and free shipping. So you can be nice and trim like Jimmy G. 20% off and free shipping. Manscaped.com. Promo code SGP. The adult film star claimed that that's why the 49ers were doing so well, because she hooked up with Jimmy G in the offseason. Matt, do you subscribe to that theory?
I do think that a woman plays a big part in a man's life. So, and it was Kiera Mia was the adult film star there.
Okay, I'll have to do some research later on that one.
That's research for the show, honey. All right,
Now listen, I'm breaking down this prop here because no bullshit, Sean. This tees up my next prop nicely.
Literally game film.
Number of women claiming to sleep with Jimmy G during Super Bowl week. Oh my God! I didn't read the fine print at all. But Jimmy G, he learned under the fine tutelage of Tom Brady. He is striving every day to make TB12 proud, and just Bill Belichick, and just Daddy, this is for you.
And what was
He's not going to have distractions during Super Bowl week. Minus 150 for under one girl claiming to sleep with Jimmy G.
He's got his ducks in the row.
What am I missing here?
Well, and that one girl, it's
Jimmy
a push.
G, I've heard this. This is no bullshit. So a friend of a friend may run in circles with Jimmy G up in the Bay Area.
Yes.
I've heard rumors of a similar contract to the rumored Derek Jeter waiver.
Now this is really funny because what is included in a Jimmy G gift basket? Because he hasn't. What do you get, like a game ball from the end of the 2017
He's
season?
not Derek Jeter, but I mean, I don't know. Picture that chin.
Maybe
just
one day
a nice portrait of that face. Anyway, which cracked me up. Yeah, there's no
runs a
way.
tight ship.
There's no way we're gonna hear anything about women sleeping with Jimmy G during Super Bowl.
No, that does feel like a lock. Matt, what do you got for your third prop?
So speaking of women, I want to make an announcement to gentlemen. If you're out there watching the Super Bowl with your girlfriend or with a lady interest, and she may not, get all the sports gambling references you're talking about, ask her about the national anthem and what Demi Lovato's outfit is going to be. It's a great icebreaker right there. I personally did it, and my girl said she likes the black outfit after doing some insider research at plus 125. So I'm rolling with that, and it's kind of a win-win. If Demi comes out in a black outfit, we're winning money, and if she doesn't, well, it's at least something to talk about and good memories to look back on. So,
hey, honey, remember that time we lost $25 on Demi Lovato's outfit? Yeah, I took a photo. No, you're right, because it is. The Super Bowl, much like Hard Knocks, great way to introduce women into football. You just got to kind of find the right angle. Listen, maybe there are some chicks that are hardcore jocks, but maybe there are chicks who are just dabbling. This is a great entry point. Get them a square. Get them one of those party prop sheets. And because, hey, you fill it out, you root for it. All of a sudden they're invested. Once they know a little bit about and halftime, there's I was asking my wife what constitutes butt cleavage, because that is a prop. Whether or not it's unclear what butt cleavage is. I'm guessing it's if you see the butt crack a little bit, the side cheeks.
I think it's crack.
Yeah. So there's a lot to be broken down over at mybookie.ag.
And and also women like their entry points to be dabbled with. So. Just mosey on in there.
Save that for the Manscaped read, Ron. Now,
so anyways, a real back to football. A real prop that I like. It's a parlay. It's a long shot, but if we're projecting the Super Bowl to be high scoring, I like the parlay of Mostert to have at least 80 rushing yards and score one touchdown. Jimmy G to have at least 260 passing yards, and the 49ers win at plus 625.
Whoa.
I believe it's a nice price right there.
Correlated
So if you like the
result.
Niners,
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, if you see a Niners win, why not dabble, parlay in some of those things and get it instead of what? What is the money line at now? Like plus 125, plus 115? Why not get it all the way up to
about
625?
exactly. And the Jimmy G 260 makes me a little nervous, but Mostert scoring one touchdown, either rushing or receiving, and then 80 yards, it's doable. So
Yeah, and that comes perfectly transitions to my third prop. Mostert to score a touchdown, yes, minus 170. I don't think he's going to have that colossal game that he had in the championship game, but I still think he'll get his. And he's had a touchdown 7 out of the last 8 games, and you're getting that price at minus 170. That seems fairly easy. He seems like the guy who's going to get a bunch of the goal line stuff. Matt, maybe you're following this closer than I am. I'm still thinking Coleman's not going to get a lot of use because of that injury. What do you think about Coleman?
yeah, I noticed that some of the Coleman and Burrito props have been taken off right now as they're kind of figuring out exactly what his role is going to be or what is projected to be. He has a shoulder injury, so he hasn't practiced yet. So if you like Burrito, it would be a good time. But also that just kind of makes Mostert more likely to score and especially be that goal line back and have that role. So I like that bet a lot.
Yeah, courtesy of NFL.com, Tevin Coleman, all my time spent treating shoulder. That doesn't sound like a guy who's 100% for the Super Bowl.
Not at all.
Sean,
Yes.
the year was 2001, playing University of Tennessee.
I
make a try saving tackle, my shoulder completely out of the socket. I roll over, medics come out. They want to cut the shirt off me. I'm like,
you'll never scrum again, boy.
First of all, do not cut this. We don't have replacements. We're a club team. We don't have all the money. But also, just pop my fucking shoulder back in because I'm a man. And I'm going back on a goddamn pitch right now.
It's a simpler time,
I proceeded to play a full season. I traveled to West Point to help get our ass kicked in a national Sweet 16 round tournament or round game. All with a shoulder that was well worse than Tevin Coleman. So, sir, you're in this fucking Super Bowl. Sack the fuck up. All right?
I think he will play. I just think Shanahan will be hesitant to use him because
Shanahan loves him. I don't. Here's where we're not aligned, Sean.
Sure.
We're not seeing eye to eye on this because I think he goes out of his way to give Coleman the ball for some reason, and especially with the way we see Mostert show out in these games, it's crazy. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to shit on your Tevin Coleman point.
No, I'm standing in my Matt Burrito corner, and
No,
I'm not getting out of there.
Sean, have you seen a Burrito catch prop?
No, I haven't. I mean, I'm sure it's on there, but I didn't.
Well, because I think he's the guy that could attack that weakness in the Chiefs.
He's
defense.
the guy. He's why I got him in my DraftKings lineup. Kramer, what's your fourth prop?
Oh, Jesus. All right, so did the research. Kyle Juszczyk, 3 carries all year.
Yep.
3 carries all year. Well, you know what Shanahan has to do. He's gonna be a little different. I'm gonna take a stab at this one because I think Shanahan, more than most coaches, self-scouts and will go out of his way to be different. And I think that involves giving Kyle Juszczyk a carry plus 300 on this one. It's a fun one. I think he gets a carry though, Sean. I think he might get multiple carries.
They're not actually booing him, folks. They're just saying use.
No way, really?
Oh no, we thought they were booing him.
All right. My favorite hot take from the nerd media, aka Robert Mays, is talking about how smart the San Francisco 49ers are for giving $20 million to a fullback. Stop it.
Yeah.
All right, look. I enjoy Saquon Barkley. I'm aware of the value conversation when it comes to running backs. He's a fullback. He's okay. I get he plays so many positions. He's a fullback. Like, calm down. It's not smart. John Lynch is not smart. John Lynch is a man who used his forehead as a welcome mat for 15 years in the National Football League. Anyway, let's
That's
move
a funny
on.
visual. If someone can do a Photoshop of like
John,
John Lynch's head zoomed in with just says welcome as if it's a floor mat.
I will give him some props. He did tolerate Warren Sapp for all those years.
Oh, man.
Which
So
we
that's
now have
another
learned.
guy.
I mean, this is one of those moments, not to get completely off the Super Bowl, but mad props to Tomlin. Mad props to Tomlin because Antonio Brown is fucking
Oh,
crazy.
man, yeah, he really-
And Tomlin kept that like whatever people have said about Tomlin in the past, take that shit back. He runs a tight ship. The worst thing that happened was he filmed the
He
locker
live
room
streamed.
speech.
Yeah.
Oh my
No,
goodness.
Tomlin in hindsight looks like a
All
genius.
right, I'm sorry. Where were we?
We're on our boy Maddie's
Okay.
fourth prop bet. Matt, what do you got going? What else do you like here?
Fourth prop. I really like the Niners to score first in the game at minus 110. If you look at both of the Niners playoff games so far, they have scored first. And if you look at both of the Chiefs playoff games so far, they tend to start slow and fall behind, and they have let their opponents score first in both of their games. So at basically even money, Niners to score first, minus 110. I like that a lot.
No, and Danny last night on the Chiefs preview, he liked the same thing. He liked Niners to score first and Chiefs win, but he was aligned on that same style of gameplay where it starts
okay.
out with the 49ers scoring first. This is flipping over to the defensive side of the ball. Nicky Bosa,
I'm going all in on Trump.
his sack total is set at 1, right? His sack total is set at 1, and under 1 sack is minus 120. Now, in only 3 out of his 18 games he's played this year has he had 2 or more sacks. So 1 sack, it's a push, but if he doesn't get a sack, it's a win.
How many games has he not had a sack? Do you have? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No,
Do you
I can look that up. But I mean,
I saw that and I thought it was a ridiculously high line to set for a defensive lineman who isn't named Justin Tuck when playing.
no,
with
because he's
New England
had
Patriots.
as far as games where he's had 0 sacks, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
Really?
10. Yeah, 10 out of the 18 games he's had 0.
Oh.
Then he's had a handful of 5. He's
I'm-
only had 3 that have gone 2 or more. So I think this is a bet that feels pretty good. You're either going to hit or I think push. I mean, you could play this and Nick Bosa MVP, and I think you have a lot of bases covered there. So I think there's tremendous value under 1 at minus 120. It feels like it just makes sense.
I looked at that. I almost threw it on the list. I really like that, Sean. Glad
Kramer,
I didn't. We would
Kramer,
have
what's your 5th prop here?
my 5th prop. All right. So I think I highlighted earlier that we talked a little bit about the Chiefs and their ability or inability to defend the running back in the passing game, right? 20th according to DVOA. I'm going to attack that prop here. And while I didn't see a Breida prop for reception yardage. Unfortunately, I'm still gonna dig for this one, but I'm okay going the Mostert angle. And the way I'm gonna play this is I'm not gonna play his first reception over 6.5 yards. I'm not gonna play 20.5 receiving yards. I'm gonna play that his longest reception is over 10.5 yards.
Ooh.
Okay.
Wait,
minus
Breida's
105.
is 10.5?
No, most.
Oh, sorry, Mostert.
Longest
Okay.
reception over 10.5 yards. I think the Chiefs will be susceptible to whether it's the screen game, whether it's getting into him out in space. He's clearly explosive. And while I wouldn't be mad at you if you want to fade his rushing numbers this week because there's some nice plus juice on that, and I do think they're going to spread the ball around there, I absolutely think he gets loose one time, so I'm taking the over 10.5 at minus 105.
Yeah, that's really all you need is just to get a little break one tackle, and you're hitting that on the 10.5.
I mean, we watched him, right? Like, there's a version of this where he just dominates again because he's really good.
Yeah.
He's good. So anyway, 10.5 yards. Let's go.
Solid. He is very good. Matt, what's your 5th prop here that you like?
5th prop. So game prop, I like over 4.5 sacks. I know that because the Niners is 2.5 and so is the Chiefs. So if you can just kind of combine those and get over 4.5, I like that. But I do want to throw something out there as far as an exact score. I'm betting 24 on the Niners and 24 on the Chiefs in honor of rest in peace Kobe Bryant. I feel like just it's 12-1 for either team to score 24 points, and I feel like that's a pretty common number, and it's right around what the total is for each team. So I feel like, I just kind of got a funny way of working these things out where one of these teams is going to get 24.
That is
I like
yeah,
this.
I mean, you always see like there was a bunch of kind of weird coincidental Kobe
coincidences, yeah.
With Trae Young, I think he had, he wore
24 shot attempts.
Yeah, and then they combined for like 81%. Like there was a lot of that stuff going on, which is always kind of interesting when that comes together in sports. I admittedly, I'm not going to reveal my pick for the Super Bowl yet, right?
Oh, please.
But I'm leaning possibly Kansas City Chiefs. However, I looked at this. There is a scenario where the 49ers score first and just kind of never let the Chiefs back in the game. That is certainly a game scenario I see. And for 49ers to win every quarter at 12-1.
No.
That is I mean, there is a scenario where they get off to an early start, they win the first quarter, second quarter's a push, third quarter's a push, and then win the fourth quarter. That is certainly a scenario that could happen. So give me the 49ers as my long shot 12-1 to win every quarter.
Love it.
Yeah. Of course Matt's loving it. It's celebrating his 49ers. And hey, maybe you have an awesome Super Bowl. You get some cash. Then you can head over to Vincero Watches. Vincero. VinceroWatches.com. I mean, just legit nice watches. We'll post some photos of them. The ones they hooked us up with over on Instagram, Sports Gambling Podcast, over there on the gram. Bold, modern designs. Turn heads, start conversations. I always thought that was just a phrase, like it starts conversation. But legitimately, every time I've worn a nice Vincero watch and see someone I haven't seen in a while or kind of, hey, what's going on? You'll get a comment like, hey, what's that? What's going on? Oh, you got a nice watch?
You're this guy where if you're watching this over at youtube.com/sports gambling podcast, you're the guy like he does like the loose like left arm jab, reach the arm out.
Free shipping, which is always nice. 30 days returns. So if you don't like your watch for some reason, and your watch guaranteed up to 2 years. So anything happens to your watch, you send it back. And again, 15% off using that promo code SGP. Kramer, talk to me about your watch.
I mean, it's nice. It's fancy. I get comments all the time. It's like walking a cute dog in the park. Girls just want to come and they want to touch the watch.
Well, and maybe we're old fashioned a little bit, but it's a way to spark a conversation. You're meeting a woman at a bar. You got her a drink. You hand her the drink. Oh, you got a nice watch there. A watch is like, hey, this guy has his shit together. He's able to go to VinceroWatches.com. He knows how to use a promo code SGP. He's smart with his money. He likes 15% off and free shipping. This guy is someone I should consider hooking up with, and then you're back to Manscaped and using the lawnmower. But really, Vincero Watches, great watches. Couldn't recommend them enough. Kramer, I feel like you're still chomping at the bit. Give me one bonus prop you want to throw out here for the listeners.
Well, I mean, if you want to have some fun, I really think, again, we highlighted how I really like Emmanuel Sanders. If you look back to the shootout against the Saints, he had a huge game. But we've also seen the way that this Chiefs defense can be attacked through the slot, and I don't think it's going to be just Emmanuel Sanders. So I'm trying to stall as I pull up the numbers, Sean, but Bourne to score a touchdown anytime.
The slot. How's the slot?
Could be recency, but I like taking a stab at this at plus 200. I think I have plus 200 in my notes. I was trying to get an updated number, but also, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna have like 24 more of these.
That's why we have 4 podcasts,
here's
Ryan.
The
that's
problem,
why it's
Sean.
Super Bowl week. Hashtag Degens only.
Degens only. Fucking Degens. Sean, I'm seeing a cross sport prop. 76ers first quarter points versus Jimmy Garoppolo pass attempts. Garoppolo's laying 1.5.
Ooh, okay.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah. pass attempts.
Yeah.
So if he has, that seems like you should go with
Sixers, right?
No, because I think Jimmy G. Well,
I do think he's going to have some. I mean, the attempts line is at 29.5.
Yeah, so Sixers getting 30 points. They're fucking lazy. They're not going to go hard in the first quarter. So I would take the other way. They're probably going to be, partying.
Do you have
early.
any more props, Sean?
Yes, I do.
Oh wow.
Matt, do you have anything else you want to throw out prop wise or?
Yeah, one final kind of just it's actually a commercial prop that I love. It's the lock of the day, and it's gonna be the over 3.5 dogs featured in a commercial. America loves puppies, and the whole underdog. I know, play that soundbite. That's stone cold.
Reminds me of the Puppy Bowl and how I got jobbed. All right, for my final prop here, and it's a spite prop. And that is Tevin Coleman rushing attempts under 6.5. He is not getting 7 carries. Kramer, you're wrong.
What?
It's minus 110. I just don't see it with that busted up shoulder.
Well, I wasn't saying he's going to. I said that if he was a man, he would.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's.
I don't know if he's a man.
Well, we're gonna find out.
Does he have 9 children like the great Philip Rivers?
San Diego Superchargers, charge!
All right, Matt. Before we let you go, can we get a final score prediction for Super Bowl Sunday?
Final score prediction: 28-24 49ers.
Ooh,
love it. And he's hitting his 12-1 prop for the exact score.
I see how he did that. He worked it in.
Exactly. And I will say that the Niners are undefeated this year against the spread as an underdog, 5-0. So whenever our backs are against the wall, I know, Sean, you can relate with that Eagles Super Bowl run. Whenever backs against the wall, we step up to the plate. So
can I throw out one more little
Sure.
I kind of thought about saving this for our final predictions, but 49ers by 6 or more, Chiefs by 6 or more, or any other result. So basically, it's within a 6-point game, right? Within 5. Any other result, plus 160. If you think this is a close game, the spread tells you it's going to be a close game. Granted, variance goes up a little bit with a total of 54.5. But if you think this is going to be a close game, like the spread suggests, plus 160 to middle that 10-point middle. It's a very real possibility, especially with a score like 28-24.
Stay tuned for our final predictions for the part 4 of the 4-part Super Bowl preview here on SGPN and Sports Gambling Podcast.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
Make sure you get in your 5-star review and send that in to contest at sportsgamblingpodcast.com so you can get your own Super Bowl squares.
And a personal response from Ryan Real Money Kramer.
Look out. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I am Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
See you tomorrow, Sean.
Kramer. Let it ride.